Hey everyone, John with 1732 Streaming's Freedom Circuit. We are live tonight on Facebook and on Rumble. Facebook, I'm going to cut you guys off after a few minutes, so this is just a taste. If you want to watch the full show, you're going to have to watch it on Rumble or YouTube, and I'll drop it in the comments and stuff like that where you can watch the full video. Rumble is free. So yeah, if you want to watch the full thing, you can do it there. Tonight we're going to cover the government shutdown. We're going to cover SNAP benefits, and we're going to go over let's see here. What else did I have on my agenda tonight? Governor's race, government shutdown, SNAP benefits. Yeah, and we'll cover a couple other things. So let's go ahead and jump into it here. Let's go ahead and get started here. Let me pull it up. So I'm trying something new. I'm actually using an AI program to help me try to keep on track. You can follow us. You can follow us on Rumble and YouTube at 1732 Streaming. We're also on Twitch, JK1732A. And if you happen to be on Facebook right now, you can follow my profile there, drop some comments and stuff like that. The chat is open for Rumble and Twitch, so if you want to go ahead and throw some comments in there, that would be great. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what we got going here. Oh yeah, and also don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe whatever platform you happen to be on. I prefer Rumble, but I'll do it on any platform. So all right, let's see here. First thing I think we're going to go into. I think we're going to go ahead and cover. Yes, the governor's race in Virginia. Okay. Yeah, that was if you're me, that was disappointing. If you're not me, maybe you're not disappointed. Drop some comments, let me know what you guys feel about that. But yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Virginia was pretty much a blue state to begin with. We had Governor Youngkin, so I'm actually not that surprised that Spanberger won. But I'm not a huge fan of some of her policies that she supports. So we'll get into some of those. But I want you guys to look at something here real quick. I wanted to pull up this here. Let me pull it up here. There it is. So that's the Virginia map right now. So that's what it looks like after the election. So as you can see here, there are these pockets of blue. And the rest of pretty much the rest of the state is red. So I wanted to give you guys an explanation as to why, the whole state looks red except for these little pockets. And so the education on that is, well, Washington, D.C. is right here. All the government workers live in this area. So you got Fairfax, Loudoun, Arlington, Alexandria, and of course that's the highest population in the state of Virginia, and they're all going to vote Democrat for the most part. And then you got Richmond here, of course. So there's that. And then down here you have Norfolk, Virginia Beach. So a lot of government workers because of the naval bases and stuff like that. So, a lot of Democrat voters. Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because one of the things that I was reading earlier, that the reason Virginia just went overwhelmingly, and I'm using quotes right now, blue, is because of the government shutdown. And, a lot of people believe that is the Republicans, which, if you have half a brain, that's not the case. The Republicans have voted to keep the government open. I believe it's 14 times as of today or yesterday, 14 times, and the Democrats are the ones that are voting no. But I digress. If you believe that the government shutdown is because of Republicans, then, you're probably a government worker or something like that, and you're not getting paid and you're frustrated. So you vote Democrat. And then, of course, that's the problem we have here in Virginia is we have these huge pockets of Washington and Norfolk and Richmond, not so much. But, if you didn't have all these government workers in Virginia Beach and Norfolk and Washington, D.C., this state would be blood red, minus Richmond and a couple of these other tiny pockets that you see. It would be blood red. So, again, I'm not surprised. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna, keep the good fight going, and nationally we'll keep the fight going there. But yeah, drop some comments, guys. Let me know how you feel about the latest governor's race here in Virginia. And, do you think that this is going to, be good for Virginia, or you think it's going to be bad for Virginia? I'm not a huge fan, and I'll tell you why. Spanberger has come out already, and she said that she wants to work on limitations with gun ownership, which is a huge problem for me. I'm a huge Second Amendment guy. So we're talking, banning scary guns, AR-15s, scary guns. And we're talking about limits to magazine capacity and stuff like that, like 10 rounds. Um, Not a huge fan of that. I mean, look at California. In California, when you start messing with the Second Amendment, you start getting an uptick in crime. And actually, you can look at all the major cities. You can look at New York, you can look at California, you can look at Baltimore and stuff like that. Huge upticks in crime is, I believe one of the reasons, one of the main reasons, is you start messing with the Second Amendment and you start limiting the law-abiding citizens' ability to defend themselves. That alone would be a reason that I wouldn't vote for a Democrat. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a single issue voter, but that's definitely one of the biggest issues for me. So Spamberger, definitely, I don't think good for the Commonwealth. The Attorney General, of course, went Democrat as well, and the Lieutenant Governor and the Attorney General. Listen, Democrat voters, if you live in Virginia, I am really disappointed in you if you voted for that guy at the end of the day. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. This man put in a text message that I've shown on this podcast, and I know you've seen nationally, that he wanted his opponents dead, and he would like for his family and children to be dead too. Go back and look at it yourself. You know it exists. You know it's there. I can't even fathom why y'all would vote this guy in. If it was a Republican, y'all would be raising holy hell on us if one of the Republican candidates said that. So, you're going to get the same from me and probably conservatives everywhere. So, yeah, totally disappointed in y'all. That's a bad move on your part. And now I think that shows that Virginia's okay with political violence now, it looks like. Spamberger didn't condemn it. I don't know about the lieutenant governor, but I doubt the incoming lieutenant governor, but I doubt she did as well. So yeah, it looks like we have a whole leadership now that's not condemning political violence. So conservatives, watch yourselves, man. Keep your head on a swivel. I don't like the way that went there. But oh, I'm sorry, guys. I have a phone call, and I'm going to ignore it right now. So thought I had my phone on silent. So yeah, let's move on to the next thing here. Let's go into the government shutdown. So okay. All right, government shutdown. So the shutdown has reached its 36th day. That is now the longest in U.S. history. Negotiations in Congress remain deadlocked, and the Senate has failed to advance solutions multiple times. That comes from NPR. Yeah, so same story, guys. The Democrats aren't budging. The Republicans, of course, continue to vote to pass this clean resolution. So I don't know what's going on there. Drop some comments. What do y'all think the deal is? So yeah, and actually we're going to go ahead and take this opportunity. For those of you watching on Facebook, we're going to cut the stream. If you want to see more of this, you can go to Rumble, and you can go to 1732 streaming channel, and then you can see the rest of the episode there. But for those of you guys on Facebook, I'm going to go ahead and have to cut y'all. Let me see here. Here it is. So, all right, guys, we'll take like literally a 10-second break while we cut the Facebook stream. But yeah, I'll see you, Facebook guys. I will see y'all next time. I'm going to continue to drop some of this content for you guys, but I'll catch y'all later. All right, we're back with Facebook Cuts, so you got to be careful what you say on Facebook. So now we're on Rumble. Rumble's a free speech platform, so you can say pretty much whatever you want within, reason, nothing threatening and stuff like that. So let's keep going on with the government shutdown here. So government shutdown right now. So they remain deadlocked right now. President Trump says he's not backing down. Speaker Mike Johnson's urging Democrats to come to the table. So, I don't know what it's going to take, guys. Democrats are holding people hostage right now. SNAP benefits are not being released. I know that's the hot topic. But there's many other things going on. You have government employees not being paid, and some of them that might actually be a good thing, but people aren't getting paid. You're going on a month now. Air traffic controllers aren't getting paid. So I read earlier today that they're cutting a lot of flights in major metropolitan areas because of the government shutdown. So, I mean, that's going to affect travel. We're getting ready to enter the busiest travel season here in the U.S. for Thanksgiving, and that's going to be crazy if they don't get that fixed anytime soon. Let's take a look here real quick. I have a clip for you guys that I want to show you guys. Let me pull it up here. All right, so I think this is it. Let me look. Yes. Yeah, that's it. All right, so let me pull that up here real quick. Let me get rid of that map. All right, so this is President Trump. He's talking about SNAP benefits, but he's also talking about the government shutdown in a very small way. So let's listen to this.
Democrats are causing millions of Americans who depend on food stamps to go without benefits. They're forcing federal workers to go without paychecks, and they're stranding thousands of travelers at the airports. And you understand it, and they understand it. All because they want to return to the failed Biden policies.
So that comes from President Trump's Truth Social page. So you can see it. There's a much longer speech. He goes into a little bit more detail, but obviously not happy. And I think he's placing the blame exactly where it belongs. And you know, funny thing, actually, my brother CP has an interesting take on all of this. So, you know, one of the things that he says, and you know, there's definitely some thought behind it, is he's really worried about the red wave the blue wave that just occurred. I don't think it's a blue wave personally, but I can see why he feels that way. I don't think it's a blue wave because you're looking at New York, already blue. You're looking at Virginia, definitely blue. We just got lucky with Youngkin. And some of the other areas that had all these Democrat wins. For the most part, those are already Democrat areas and strongholds, so I'm not that worried about it. But he feels like that there was a big push this time because of social media, and specifically the administration. So the White House putting out these tweets and videos, and he feels like that they are, trolling, maybe not the left, because no matter what, the left isn't going to like us, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. They're not going to like us. They're going to hate us. It doesn't really matter. He's worried that we might be disenfranchising, independents and maybe some, watered down Republicans and stuff like that. That's a thought. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I actually think it's a good thing, but I can see where he's coming from. And, there's definitely something to talk about there. What do you guys think? Do you think the mean tweets and all that good stuff, do you think that affected this election? Or do you think, it didn't really matter? So, I agree with him that it's brought more attention to the administration. I don't know if it's good or bad. I actually think it's kind of genius, and the reason I think it's genius is because I was just talking to him on the phone earlier. In today's day and age, social media, people are watching reels, they're watching they're watching shorts, Instagram, all that good stuff, and they're not watching anything more than a couple of minutes. They're just swiping. We all do it, right? We all get on our phone, we go on Instagram, we swipe. And I think putting out these videos and these mean tweets and stuff like that, I think it's a good thing. And the reason I think it's a good thing is because somebody's going to watch that, and hopefully they get a chuckle, or they don't, or they get angry. But then I hope they go back and then they go research what that video was meant to bring their attention to. And I think that's what they're trying to do, and I think it's happening. The reality is, just an example, I put out a couple of shorts on YouTube, a couple of shorts on or reels on Facebook, and I'm getting thousands of views within a couple of days. And I put up this video here, my show, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it ends up being. I'm lucky to breach 100. So, there's definitely something in there for the small format, but what I hope they're trying to do is bring in a crowd into longer formats. So they're putting out these shorts, but it's going to make you, okay, why is he putting, Hakeem Jeffries out there with a sombrero and saying they want to give illegals insurance? Hopefully you go research that and you find podcasts and you find news and all that stuff, and you actually look and see, if it's true and what's actually happening. So, there's there's a chat there. So yeah, and it's a chat from me just saying drop chats and stuff like that. I guess it just came through. But yeah, so I hope that's what's happening, because that's what I'm trying to do as a content creator. I'm dropping all these shorts and these reels, these little 1-2 minute videos to try to draw people to this show, the long format, where we can hopefully have good conversations and get a little more into it. So I hope that's what's happening, but I can definitely see where maybe some people would be upset. Maybe it is affecting the voting. What do you guys think? So yeah, let's move on here. So that's the government shutdown. Still, again, still not a whole lot changing. Let's move into filibuster. Okay. So the Republicans have defended the filibuster as a virtual principle for Senate integrity, resisting demands to end it for short-term gains. So that's what the Democrats are doing right now. They're filibustering, keeping the CR from being pushed forward. And President Trump is urging Republicans to get rid of the filibuster. And, I don't know. I don't have an opinion. Well, I don't have an opinion on that either way right now. I don't know exactly where I line up. I know why the filibuster exists. I get why it exists, but policy isn't getting pushed through because of the filibuster. So do we get rid of the filibuster now and not have to, we can start pushing our stuff through? But does that come back to bite us in the rear ends, 4 years from now? Let's say a Democrat Senate, Democrat House, and presidency, or any combination of where Democrats take over something nationally, then we lose the ability as conservatives to hold up policy and all that good stuff, just like they're doing to us right now. So to me, I don't know. I mean, like right now, if I wasn't thinking, about the future, I'd say, yeah, get rid of the filibuster so we can open up the government. We can start pushing policies through that need to get pushed through based on a majority. But then, I think 10 years down the road, would I regret that decision? So I don't know. I have to do more of a dig into that. And I'd really like to know what you guys think about that. Drop some comments, drop some chats, however you want to get in touch. I'd like to see what y'all think. Should we keep the filibuster or should we get rid of it? I think there's arguments for both, but I really want to see what my audience thinks about that. So I'd like to hear from you guys on that. So yeah, that's the filibuster. Not a whole lot more else on that, obviously. So I think right now the Republicans are not trying to get rid of the filibuster. I don't think they want to get rid of it. I know the president does, but I don't think the Republican Party does. That's at least what I'm seeing right now. That could obviously change. All right, well, let's go on here. Let's go on to, SNAP benefits. Okay, so let's take a look here. I have another video for you guys. I tried to get a couple more videos together for you guys. Let's see here.
Democrats are causing millions of Americans.
Oops, sorry about that, guys. All right, so here is from The Hill.
The Department of Agriculture says it will be able to provide each household half of its usual funding amount for SNAP for the month of November. Now, it's day 34 of the government shutdown. The House is still out of session, and the Senate does not plan to vote on the government funding bill today. Households that obtain federal food assistance will receive funding for November after all. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program will be partially funded this month, following 2 recent court rulings.
Okay, so I was reading more into it. It looks like that people can expect to see only 46 to 54%. My numbers might be a little off, but they should be close. Of if you receive SNAP, you're only going to get 46, 50% of your benefits. You're not going to get the full amount. So if you got $1,000 a month, you're only going to get $500 this month. And the reason is the Department of Agriculture and those guys don't have the money for the full amount that it costs for the entire everybody that needs the benefits. They just don't have the money in their budget. And of course, the government's shut down right now, so they're not going to get more money. Everything's kind of stopped right now. So so that's kind of an update there. I still think the best thing to do is get the government open. I think a longer discussion is there's a lot of people on SNAP benefits, and it looks like there's way more than there should be. So, is this an opportunity while the government shut down to kind of revamp that? Everybody has to, and this is just me talking, it's not necessarily how it needs to go or how it's going to go. Everybody needs to reapply so they can show proof of citizenship and proof of need. Are you actually in a situation where you need it, or are you just being a lazy ass and not getting out and working? I think that's important. I think this is a good opportunity for a reset. I'm all about helping people that actually need it at the end of the day. I really am. I'm a first responder. You know, it's in my blood to help people. So I'm all about that. Disabled people, mentally disabled people, people that are injured, people that are just down on their luck. They lost their job and haven't found a job yet. Now, I don't think it should be permanent. I think there's a time frame on that, but I really think that it's okay to have a benefit, but not to the extent that we see right now. The state of Virginia has 850,000 people on SNAP benefits. That is way more than there should be. And now again, this goes back to the previous podcast. Is this because of abuse, or is this because people have been led that way by the left, becoming dependent on the government, policies leading to it? We have wages not really keeping up with the cost of things and all that good stuff, which we can go into tariffs and all that stuff at a later time. But so yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's an abuse of the system? Do you think it's a combination of both? Do you think it's just a bunch of lazy people out there, or what? Again, I think there's a combination. I think the amount of people that actually need SNAP benefits, at least in the state of Virginia, at 850,000, I think is way less than 850,000, to be completely honest with you. But I'm okay with it existing. I'm a Christian, I'm a conservative, I'm a first responder. All three of those, at our core, we want to help people and we want to make sure people are taken care of. So, I'm good with it. I just don't want it to be abused where it costs me, the taxpayer, money. I mean, I don't get SNAP benefits. Sometimes I struggle to pay the bills on occasions, but because I have a job that pays fairly decent, I don't qualify for SNAP benefits, So, but yeah, so that's that. Let's see. I have another video for you guys here. Let me get that pulled up real quick. This one.
Mike Johnson says Democrats are to blame for the problems with SNAP funding, as they haven't provided the votes needed to end the shutdown. But speaking at a food bank, Democratic Congresswoman Kathy Castor argues Republicans are the ones not taking action to reopen the government.
Folks in Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the President to come to the table to negotiate an end to the health care crisis and the food crisis now.
The House did its job September 19th. We're waiting on the Senate to get this done.
The U.S.
Okay, so Mike Johnson is absolutely correct. They've already voted to have the CR push. They've already voted to have the CR push numerous times. Hold on here. All right, there we go. So yeah, the Republicans have already numerous times have voted to push this through. That Democrat representative there saying, it's a Republican shutdown, she's lying. She's straight out lying. If she wanted this to end, she could urge her colleagues to vote yes and open up the government tomorrow. This is a clean resolution, guys. This is a resolution to keep the government going and to not pay for a lot of fluff and fat right now, and they can do that in the next budget at the end of the year. So they're just trying to keep things going right now. They're not looking to add anything. They're not looking to really take anything away. They're just looking to keep the government going while they figure out the new budgets and everything like that. There's no reason for that not to happen. At the end of the day, there's no reason whatsoever. I mean, I don't see why they don't want it to keep going. I just don't understand. Drop some comments on that and how you feel about that. Do you think these people have your best interest at heart, or are they pushing an agenda? I think they're pushing an agenda right now. That's just me. So, all right, let's move into the next thing here real quick. Let's see here. I thought I had something. All right, so one of the things that we talked about earlier, President Trump was talking about the airlines and stuff like that. So Transportation Secretary Duffy warns on national news that continued shutdown may threaten airline safety, with Republicans cautioning against further delays to reopening the government, and that comes from CBS. So, essentially, we talked about it earlier. Guys, when you have less air traffic controllers watching the skies, when you have government workers that are in charge of that not at work, it's not good, man. I mean, traffic air controllers and airport personnel, it's all about safety. And, a lot of things in my industry come from the airlines, from their mistakes. And when the airlines have a mistake, it's a big mistake. We're not talking about, a emergency vehicle crashing and, 2, 3 people dying at max, right? We're talking about airplanes falling out of the sky and killing hundreds of people at one time. It's a fair warning. We got less air traffic controllers. These people haven't been paid, and they're not getting paid. Which is leading to them calling out, which is maybe them leading to finding other jobs. And air traffic controller isn't someone you can just pull off Indeed.com, right? You can't just pull a high schooler out and make them an air traffic controller the next day. There's extensive training involved with that, and education that goes with that as well. That's why it pays so well. So, excuse me. So yeah, I mean, just, guys, if you got flight plans for Thanksgiving, I would plan ahead as far as delays being at the airports and stuff like that. I really would. So yeah, I think that's about all I got for you guys tonight. We covered 3-4 good topics there. I'll try to get the next episode out maybe Friday. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'll keep it up on my Facebook page, and I'll keep dropping shorts to keep you guys informed when the next episodes are coming. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys' support. Platform's growing. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, subscribe. If you happen to be on Rumble, hit that notification bell. You can also follow us on YouTube at 1732 Streaming, on Twitch, JK1732A. And of course, if you see this on Facebook, you can watch the short snippets that I put out there, and then, of course, the first few minutes of the show. But if you want to watch the full show and get all the content, follow us on Rumble. I prefer Rumble, but YouTube is fine as well. All right, guys. Well, I will catch y'all later. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay safe. Peace.